they evaluated the top 32 contracts. I guess they did one for every team in the National Football League in the NFL. Value of what it is signed for and what they project the player to be over however much is left in the contract. And they ranked the top 32 contracts in the National Football League. 2 Eagles made the top 32, which is not bad, because if it's 32 and everything were equal, everybody would have 1. The Eagles actually have 2. Just value contracts as compared to probable production, and this is all an estimate and all very subjective. Mac and Mac guys here on Birds 365. We got hour number 2 coming your way, and Chris Landry from LandryFootball.com, former NFL coach, scout, is going to hop aboard here in about 15, 16 minutes from now. I asked my wife during the commercial, got a coffee refill, and I asked her the name of the inexpensive bus company that my daughter used every once in a while. Her roommate was from Pittsburgh at Temple, and she used to go back and forth between Pittsburgh and Philly all the time. The Bolt Bus.
Bolt Bus, all right.
Bolt Bus. You had never heard of it, Johnny Mac?
I think I've seen it now that you say it. Okay. I think I've seen them out there, but I didn't know it was that cheap. Wow.
So yeah, my wife remembered the name. Thank you for filling in the blanks, dear. Northeast cities, New York, Pittsburgh, Boston, Philadelphia, and the like. Inexpensive tickets. I'll give you what it said right here at Wikipedia. Inner city bus common carrier operated low-cost, non-stop, limited stop, premium level routes in the Northeast and Western United States and up in Canada. He unfortunately shut down in 2021.
I just looked it up. I have seen that bus, and it shut down. That's a shame.
2008 to 2021. They tried to do it on the inexpensive side for those many years. Probably had to, it would definitely be dead in the water with the price of gas these days. And no shot of being able to do it for the amount. My daughter used to tell me that, like, if you buy the tickets well in advance, it's based on the same line of logic with airlines tickets. That sometimes if you buy them well in advance, you can get them for a very specific discount. Like as I say, my daughter's roommate, college roommate, would get like a round trip ticket to Pittsburgh on the bus for $10. Wow, $5 nice. Each way, the entire way across it. That's like 1/3 of what you would pay in tolls, let alone how much you'd have to pay in gas if you got a car and drove it. But if you bought your tickets way in advance, you could get very inexpensive.
You know, the last time I went to Pittsburgh, so when was that? When the Eagles played? It was the COVID, because I know nobody was there. I drove out there because it's not, at the time gas wasn't absurd. But you talk about the tolls, you're doing it on the Pennsylvania Turnpike. And I, of course, have Easy Pass, as most people do nowadays. And, you don't know what you're paying as you don't realize. But with Easy Pass, I found out from my trip to Pittsburgh, they replenish. And I thought when I first joined way back, I thought you got to pick the level of replenishment, when it goes down to whatever, $10 or, they take $50 out of your account or whatever. It's not like that, Jody. They average what you do, and they so if you're going over the bridge every day, like I do once training camp starts, I get to pay $5 every day. It goes up. I think it's like $75 they take out of my account. Well, one trip to across Pennsylvania, and the next time my Easy Pass got replenished, they took $175 out. I don't know what I paid on that stinking turnpike, but it was a lot. It was a lot, to the point where they said, "Oh, McMullen's driving a lot more. We got to take $175 stinking dollars." I couldn't believe it, and you can't adjust it. You got to wait for the next time, and
Right.
their algorithm figures it out.
I'll tell you my quick easy pass story. Then we'll get back to the Eagles. I promise, Eagles fans. Yours truly used to work in New York, up to New York every single day, 6 days a week, as a matter of fact. And I went up the Jersey Turnpike every single day. So I was saying with you, the amount that you use it is amount that they set the number that they take it out. And then I wasn't working in New York anymore.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't getting on the Jersey Turnpike every single day. Oh, but they continued to take out that same amount the next month and the next month. And at one point, I think I had like $900 built up in credit on Easy Pass because they just expected me to continue to use it. They don't double check and make, once they get a locked in number, they just keep taking it out every single month. I had to call them and go, listen, stop taking money out of my card. I'm not going up and down the turnpike. And oh, sorry, Mr. McDonald. And then they readjusted it for me. But yeah, they kept doing it for months. And if my wife didn't catch it, they would have kept, I could have had like $9,000 built up in Easy Pass credit. That is funny. All right, Johnny, I do have a question for you on the Birds before we get Chris Landry up here. Our good friends at Pro Football Focus had an interesting article that I caught either yesterday or the day before. I don't remember which. And this is very subjectively laid out. They evaluated the top 32 contracts. I guess they did one for every team in the National Football League in the NFL. Value of what it is signed for and what they project the player to be over however much is left in the contract. And they ranked the top 32 contracts in the National Football League. 2 Eagles made the top 32, which is not bad because if it's 32 and everything were equal, everybody would have 1. The Eagles actually have 2. Just value contracts as compared to probable production. And this is all an estimate and all very subjective. But I actually thought they did a pretty nice job of it. Who do you think the 2 Eagles were that were valued out as one of the 32 best contracts in the National Football League? And where do you think they ranked in the 1 through 32 range?
Well, number one, I want to know is it did our guy Brad Spielberger did this? Maybe we should get him on the show next week because he tends to be their cap guy. So I'll be interested. I'll look it up to see if he wrote it. Maybe we can get him on to talk about it.
I got it here in front of me. It was done by Brad Spielberg. Yep.
Yeah. So maybe we'll get him on to talk about it. I say right off the bat, I know one's going to be Jordan Mailata. That's probably going to be top 5 in the league because the Eagles got a bargain in that.
Not only is he top 5, he is the number 1 contract
number
in
one.
the National Football League.
Wow.
The top
that's
valued contract is Jordan Mailata in the NFL.
If he hit the open market, I mean, he would have just been astronomical, the money he would have gotten. I think people don't realize. So to me, I'm going to say the other one. I say people don't understand how big that was. Jordan Mailata, Josh Sweat, Avonte Maddox, Dallas Goedert, any of those 4 hit the open market. People do not realize how good those 4 contracts are. Now, if they turn out to be crappy players,
right? It's all projection at this point.
But if they turn out to be what people think they are, in the case of Jordan, obviously, he is a massive bargain. So I agree 100% with Brad on that. So then I look at those other 3. It's got to be one of those other 3. Avonte doesn't make enough money. So then it comes down to Josh Sweat or Dallas Goedert. I would assume he would go Goddard over Josh Sweat, but he's very close. The Josh Sweat deal is also a really good deal. So I would say one of those 2, I would lean towards Goddard.
And you would be correct, McMullen. Very good by you. The 31st best contract, as per Brett Spielberg, on the books in the NFL is Dallas Goedert, his 4-year, $57 million deal. It's actually a damn good list, and we do get Brad on from time to time. Maybe we'll try and get him up next week. I'll just give you the highest ranked ones. My Lotta, number 1. Mike Evans of Tampa, number 2. He's got 2 years left at $28 million. The best wide receivers are now making 25 per, so he's got 2 years to go at 14. So yes, I can see where that absolutely fits. Darren Waller, who's making less than Dallas Goedert and has done a little bit more, improved a little bit more. He's got 2 years and 14 million to go. 7 million for maybe the most athletic tight end in the National Football League. Understood. Cortland Sutton, 4 years. $60 million. It's certainly less than the top flight wide receivers are, but he's not a top flight wide receiver. I guess he's a bigger fan of Cortland Sutton than I am. I think it's a good contract, not a great one. Rob Havenstein from the Rams, offensive lineman. Offensive linemen are so tough to rate because there's not as applicable stats that you can just put with the player, but he is a great player, so that makes sense. And number 6, this is the one I wanted to get to. Patrick Mahomes, who's only got $450 million to go on his deal. Man. But
yeah, by the way, I'm surprised, Jody, that Patrick's not higher on his list because
really?
Yeah, because well, that's what people are going to see. The splashiness of the what was it, 10 years, whatever
10 years,
he got.
450.
Yeah. I mean, people see that, but that's agent talk. The way they structured that thing, Mahomes is way underpaid compared, especially. I mean, everything's about timing and circumstance, as we always say. If you're the next, you're going to get the most money. We were talking about Herbert and Burrow coming up. That if you just look at 10 and 450, yeah, it looks bad. But if you dive into the nuts and bolts of that thing, it is very, very team friendly, as team friendly as it can possibly be for a superstar quarterback. I mean, you got to pay him. He's Patrick Mahomes, but it's not nearly as bad as that headline would indicate. And there's all these sort of points that if he does for some reason just totally tank, they can get the heck out of it. I mean, it was really I'd have to pull up the contract, and I don't have time to go through it all, but it was really an inventive deal from Kansas City's perspective, in the fact that I thought more people would copy it for the top tier quarterbacks, and he kind of left money on the table, believe it or not, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, but he at an early age, a young age, he got the rest of his life guaranteed, which is never a bad thing. But as you go through it, if you continue to stay at that level, you go, damn, I guess I'm a little on the cheap side. But Mahomes' contract did make the list, as did Brady's, which is interesting, the different dynamics of the two type deals. One is a 10-year deal going forward for a decade. He thinks Brady's 1-year deal this year just to play quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it's $25 million, which is not chump change. But when you got Aaron Rodgers making $50 million, you say Tom Brady's only worth half of what Aaron Rodgers is. Yeah, I guess I get it. That even at $25 million, Brady's contract is a bit of a bargain for the Bucs.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a guy who's been underpaid for years. Let's be honest. And he's got to get more money to call football games than to play them. So how silly is that? But yeah, if anything, Tom Brady's been a bargain throughout his whole career, to be honest, when you consider the success on top of it. And the fact that, hey, I mean, he's Tom Brady. He make more money off the field. His wife makes more money than he does. He does have the competitive nature. A lot of reasons why Tom Brady is never going to happen again. We always talk about it from the football perspective. It's not going to happen again. But even more so, if you could find another Tom Brady who could play at that level into his mid 40s, which is extremely unlikely. You would never be able to find a guy that has been selfless enough to not go for, Aaron Rodgers money. What did Aaron Rodgers get? 50 million a year, but it's like 100 million over 3 years in real money. Tom never did that for whatever reason.
But the reason why I wanted to just make note of that list was give you credit, our buddy Brad Spielberg, but you credit as well, John. You've harped on all off season. People don't give Howie Roseman credit for the Jordan Mailata, for the Josh Sweat, for the Dallas Goedert contract extensions. It's the same thing as getting a free agent. You're just not allowing the process to get out of control. You're making that decision a little at a time, and you can either get it right or get it wrong. To this point, it looks like Howie got those very right. Yeah. And if you agree with the rankings in Pro Football Focus, he's got 2 of the top 32 contracts in the entire National Football League. That's pretty good to get done in one offseason. All right, Jody McDonald and John McMullen, the Mac guys here on Birds 365. We'll be joined by one of our favorite analysts next, former NFL scout and coach. Now the guy who puts Landry football together, podcasts aplenty. He's going to hop aboard with us on Birds 365. Chris Landry, next.